All right. So K Marlee, Clayne Hughes.
That's me.
You know, we here at the SOULiloquies Sessions for another phenomenal interview. So you are an educator, you're a poet, you're an author, you're a parent. As you know, they can see the camera in the, they can see the airplane, you know, so this is also featuring Truth, you know, her wonderful, amazing offspring. So what is it like, you know what I'm saying, to, you know, be doing things, you know, and as a mother, you know what I mean, this is a part of everything, you know, you're doing, from your poetry to your teaching to doing your interviews and things of that nature. Like, what's that like as an artist and as a teacher?
It's an honor. I mean, especially being a parent and allowing him to be able to see everything. He's been to my classroom. He's seen plays. He's been there for plays. He's been there for different programs. He's been there with me singing, literally, in my lap, right at my feet. So it's like, it's just an honor for him to be able to see all of that, because my parents, you know, they exposed me to things that they love, but I didn't necessarily see them doing it. I wasn't, you know, right there with them every step of the way. So I think, you know, having the chance to have him right beside me, you know, will open his eyes to so much more, so much sooner.
Yeah, and through experience, you know, with so many things that people can expose us to by handing us a book and making us reading about it, or talking to us about a person. But like you said, in your lap, when you in front of crowds, singing, you know what I mean, when your play is being presented, and even if he doesn't fully know what's going on now, it's something beautiful for him to be able to look back at in retrospect.
Exactly.
So, and parents do so much in front of their kids, you know, that it's like, you know what I mean, these are things that they need to see as well. So I love it, you know what I'm saying? You know, seeing you run around, you know what I mean? Even when we would have like art galleries and it would be other people's kids, you know, there, they'd be around the building. I remember in church, let the baby cry.
Right.
It's just a baby, you know, but like, nah, for real, they are part of this experience.
Right.
Airplane, where you want to toss it? All right, we're going to go, let's see how far I can get it.
Ooh.
Not far, but so you're an author.
Yeah.
You know, also you have written a book. What was it? Truth's Blue Shoes? No, Socks.
Blue Socks.
Yes, indeed. So talk to me about his blue socks.
So it really was literally inspired by a pair of socks that he got. I was looking for some socks one day and I opened the drawer and they were just so like vibrant and exciting that I was like, you know, people write stories about the simplest things, but you can illustrate it in such a way that, you know, it comes to life. And that's what I wanted for that book. It was simple enough, and I thought about like my students, I thought about, you know, those beginning readers, and for him to be able to grow up and start reading it. So why not use him as an inspiration? Right. And I was grateful enough to find a great illustrator who took my simple words and magnified, you know, every page. So it was beautiful.
What was one of your like most memorable experiences like throughout your creation process?
Getting the illustrations back. Like, I was on a roll, like, I'm gonna write 10 books about all these things, and that was like the first one that came to mind, and then I started having all these crazy ideas, but that one became real when I got the illustrations, and I was just like, wow, this is a thing. And it took a long time, honestly, from the time that I created it and started writing it to actually putting it out in the ebook form, because I wanted it to be in print. I wanted it to be out at a certain date and time, and you know, all these things. But you know, perfection is not always the end goal. Sometimes you just have to look at the process and take things for what they are. And it turned out great. Like, I got a great feedback from it. People enjoyed it, spread it out, gave it as gifts and all that, just from it being an ebook. So I can't even imagine what it would be like in print.
From the perspective of the journey, you know, what are some of the obstacles that you had? So what are some of the obstacles that you anticipated that you overcame, and what are some of the obstacles that came that you weren't aware of that you overcame as well?
I've struggled, like I said, with that wanting to be perfect. So just telling myself, do it anyway. Just go ahead and do it. Do it scared, do it insecure, just do it anyway. Because, you know, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So if I'm ever gonna see myself becoming more of an author and writing again and, you know, having more books, I have to start somewhere.
Right.
So I knew that I had to get out of my own head in order to see it into fruition in any way. I didn't know how difficult it would be though, like thinking about just the page count. Something as simple as the page count can throw off everything. I was like, oh, so what do I do now?
What was your original page count versus what it is now?
So now, even after the ebook, I went back and added more pages. Because I had to go the ebook route because it was so short. Like, it started out, I think, only like 10 pages, and then I made it into like 14 pages, but that was obviously still too short. But I was just like, how do I make 14 pages into 24? Like, and that's where I was just like, I'm just gonna go put it out as an ebook and, you know, figure out whatever happens next after that. So now I went back and added more pages, but it's still too short. I still don't know what to do. So anybody has suggestions?
How has Truth responded to the book?
He likes it. We don't read it. Strangely enough, we don't read it as often as people might imagine, but he knows it. Like, when he sees it, he knows exactly what it is and wants to say all the repetitions and all of that. So it's cool.
In your further movement as an author, you know, what are some of the things that you are looking forward to, like further publishing?
So I know I want to do more work around Kwanzaa. I wrote a play about Kwanzaa, kind of like what's that Christmas one? The night before Christmas, kind of like that, but very black. So I want to turn that play into a book. I think that'll be great because we got a great response back from that. And I know I want to write just about people that are not normally shown in picture books. Like, tell stories about people like Queen and Zinga in a way that children can digest and take in. So just some of those greats that we don't always see as much.
So you write plays. You know, you got plays on deck. And you're an educator, you know, so, and I like, you know, the uniqueness of your classroom, you know, or what is unique to me, you know, how you choose to educate, you know, and give experiences to your students. And give these experiences to your students, you know, and it's very unique for me to go into a classroom and see that, you know, because I've been into other classrooms and they have to do it in the general way, you know, that you would believe a classroom is. What was the point where you were like, I'm gonna make this classroom how I wanted, you know, it to be versus, or did you anticipate challenges, you know, with that?
Well, my first year, I came in kind of like as a long-term sub. So I was very much just like trying to feel it out, trying to, you know, see where things were going and what to do with it. But I was influenced by, you know, other teachers that I had seen and different things like that that were like, oh, okay, so everybody doesn't necessarily, you know, go by what is the norm or what's expected. So you can, there's always that certain ownership that you can take in your classroom. It doesn't necessarily have to look cookie cutter.
Right.
So when I saw that, I was like, okay, how can I tie in more pieces of me? So my second year, I was like, all right. I did some different things, like at the end of the day, I did a little segment, like Little Entrepreneurs. And it was basically different little Black and brown children who had started businesses and, you know, were doing well. And then that class that I had was so receptive to just like seeing people that look like them and, you know, things like that. I think I did another thing that was like inventors or something like that. So that got me excited about like teaching Black history, and I just found parts of the day where I could tie it in. And I think that year we did a little small Kwanzaa program, like with just myself and another class. But it felt so good that I was like, okay, the year after that, I looped with that class. So we already had that bond, we had that connection, and I knew that they were gonna soak up everything that I could pour into them. So
you got a very like impressionable age.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
You know, students, young people. And I mean, at that age, they soak up a lot, you know what I mean? So they know lyrics, they can quote you WAP, you know what I'm saying? You know,
so I'm like, if you can do that, you can take these facts and, you know.
Exactly, so it's never too young. So that's why, like, even stepping into your classroom, and I think it was you were doing 3rd grade at that time.
Yep,
you know?
that's when I had looped up with them.
And that was inspiring to me to be able to see, like, because one of the rings, my aunt always encouraged me to be an educator. But I was like, I don't really want to work within the system, right. You know, where there are certain ways that I want to teach that I felt like, even if it wasn't too far out of the box, they would have viewed as radical, you know, and there would have been, you know, some type of complications or whatnot. Right. But like stepping into your classroom and seeing the RBG flag, you know, seeing everything that you had decorated around the room, seeing art from people like Trey, you know, like, so now you included local artists with, you know, history, you know what I mean, of those that may no longer exist, but it's all teachable. And then you were bringing people into the classroom.
Yes.
You know, so like that was like phenomenal to see, you know, because you gave them experiences that I'm sure so many, 90% of students really not getting, you know, if nowhere else, definitely not here. Right. You know, so what is it that made you like decide like, I'm gonna bring my people in the classroom and like create these experiences? Yeah,
it's like I knew, like I said, because I already knew the students, like that time was, I didn't have to spend so much time focused on like their behavior and like, you know, trying to build these relationships with them brand new. Like, okay, we got time for some extra things in our day. And two, I wanted to, as cliche as it sounds, like be the change, because when I was younger, I didn't see people that weren't lawyers, doctors, teachers, you know, the typical professions. So when I thought about, okay, I'm not teaching 2nd grade anymore, I'm teaching 3rd grade. I know who these kids are. I know that they're like ready, you know, for everything. So I was like, you know, when I met all of these artists and, you know, connected with all these people, I was like, how can I, you know, what can I do just to liven this up? Like, let's go. And it started from the beginning of the school year. Like I had Trey come in and, you know, just be there with them. He didn't even have to do anything, but like just being there and them knowing that he's an artist, like that'll show somebody else who wants to do art, like, oh, I can do it too. And I had kids that were really into like drawing and painting and things like that, and you could just see the light bulb go off for them. Like it was beautiful.
Yeah, you exposed them, you know what I mean, to a lot, you know, to some real energy, you know. And did you ever have any challenges, you know, or any static, you know, from anybody else with, you know, what you were bringing to the table? I mean, everybody there seemed really receptive. Yeah. You know, so that also was cool, and it felt like a place, you know what I mean, that I would, you know, just want to, you know what I mean, teach as well or contribute or whatever. So that was cool to have that type of environment.
Yeah, the school at the time, I really wasn't getting any pushback. Like everything was pretty much like, okay, you're doing that in your classroom, as long as it didn't interfere with whatever I was supposed to be doing. They really didn't care. Like if they could come in and see that y'all were pulling up beside a student and helping them with their math or something like that, you know, like what's the harm? There's no reason for them not to. Yeah. You know? So I really didn't ever get any like, anything negative. I did at some point feel like, you know, maybe they want me to just keep it there. Like, they're not starting no programs. Y'all not doing nothing like that. But they can come to your room.
Yeah. Now you planted some seeds though, and you gave even other people opportunities. Like I'm sure, you know what I'm saying, or I can speak for myself. You know, when you said like you provided me an opportunity to work, you know, closely with some students, you know, and even understand like even furthermore what that presence was all about. But then like, you know, my If the Sun Don't Shine I Will was really cool to, you know what I mean, utilize in the classroom. And it kind of, you know what I mean, you equipped me with other things that I could use. So I mean, you gave the students an experience, but people that you brought into the classroom, I'm sure, you know what I mean, you gave them an experience and opportunity as well. So you're a poet.
I am.
When did the world of poetry begin for you?
I would say when I was young. I always liked to write. I like to read. And I realized when I started learning about poetry in school, I realized like that's all songs are, you know, songs are poetry, but to music. So I would always write to myself, but I didn't start sharing my poetry until maybe 2015, 2016. It's been very fresh, and it's been a journey. I've kind of like, you know, taken a step back into my shell, just because I feel like writing and sharing that writing is a very like sacred thing, you know? You don't always want to share everything,
right?
And not with everyone. So, you know, sometimes it's just a reflective type of energy, and that's kind of where I am right now. But it's been fun though, like, you know, having people be excited about things that I wrote and things that I'm saying.
Let me get that black noise.
Oh, who, me? So, you know, that's been cool. And I've been able to like see different people's styles, again, outside of the norm. Like, you know, when you're coming up, you just hear about Langston Hughes and, you know, this person and that person, but being able to like see how people are so influenced by different artists and different writers, but put their own spin on it. So it's like trying to find my own voice in that. It's been a journey. It's been cool.
Who are some writers of plays that have influenced you? Because you have these plays, you know, that are extremely phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like you put a lot of time into it, and then you do work with an age group that could be difficult for some people, you know? So like that's dedication, hard work, plus patience, you know, Nipsey Hussle.
Yes.
But you really put that in, you know, so who are the writers that have influenced you, and talk to us about patience.
Gotta have a lot. But I don't know what writers I could say off the top of my head. Like, I really like musicals. So I definitely, you know, kind of always tie in that vibe. Like, there's always going to be some type of choreography at the end, big, you know, always going to be some music tied into it fully. And that kind of guides a lot of what I do. But yeah, I like musicals, and I like things about Black people.
I would love to see, you know, some of these plays like on the road.
Yeah.
I would love to see you directing them in other places, you know, with other classrooms, even some adults.
Yeah.
You know, like I really think you can take these, you know, some places, and it's interesting, all the different like talents that we grow and cultivate. And then what was it like trying your first one?
So one of the first ones that I did, I was more so like helping put together pieces of it. So not really like fully my work. But in terms of like going back to having to have the patience, like that's a big part of it. You have to know the group that you're working with in order to be able to like write the lines, to be able to like direct them. Just having the experience of like being a part of other plays at the school was major, because it is a lot of like telling them over and over and over and over and over again to help them learn it. So it's like you have to know all of it, you know, in the back of your mind. Like you have to know what comes next and what, you know, who says what and where they go, when they go, and you know. Whew.
It has to be extremely euphoric to execute though.
Oh yeah, when it all comes together, it's like you just let out that big sigh of relief, like okay, whew. And then when it's that second show, you're like, okay, now I really know how to make this happen.
Have you seen, so for example, this gallery here, I had the idea, I knew what I wanted to do. This thing has taken a life that I didn't even anticipate or expect. Have you seen that with any of your own endeavors, whether it's the art, your poetry, your plays, in the education? Have you seen them, you know, certain things take a life of their own that you didn't even anticipate?
Yeah, I definitely, you know, had a vision of what my career in education would look like. But, you know, I'm in a place now that's just like, wow, I'm really doing this, and I'm really, you know, being who I said I wanted to be. I have been, to toot my own horn, I've been an inspiration, you know, to a lot of people. To
2019 Home Teacher of the Year.
Right, you know, that's something that I definitely didn't expect. Like, I've been Employee of the Month, and, you know, I was Rookie Teacher of the Year when I first started, but to be named, even just at my school, to be named Teacher of the Year was like, okay, somebody sees me out here. Like, none of this is in vain, which I knew, but like, to know that other people see what I'm doing and find value in it, it's a beautiful thing. When parents tell me like, oh, you're like their school mom, like that really touches me, because that means like not only does the child trust me, but their parents trust me too, and they see what I'm trying to do, and they know that it's coming from a place of love. What are you trying to do, child? What is it that you need?
What are you doing? So, Stories of Underground Legends. You submitted your grandmother. And you submitted a phenomenal poem to go with it. Talk to us a little bit about your grandmother and why she's legendary.
So, Miss Martha Lee Corley Hughes is my namesake, or am I her namesake? I don't know which way that goes, but my great grandmother was all things: a homemaker, a seamstress, first lady at the church, could bake, could cook, could do it all. And she had 8 children, and from there, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and the list goes on and on. So, you know, to me, like, she's gonna live forever because she's living, you know, through all of her descendants, like everybody that came after, and our family is big. It's a lot of us. And that's just a beautiful thing. Like, it's touching to see like how many people, you know, you can influence just from being who you are, right? And for me, her living to be 103 and be able to see out, you know, a long line of what her legacy is amazing. Like,
what's it like to be a part of that type of legacy? Like, because some people don't get to see their grandparents live out, you know what I mean, to be 103.
Right.
Some people don't even get to feel the impact of their grandparents, even if they're living and have an opportunity to be in their life, you know. So what is it like to really be able to experience that?
So when she turned 100, we had like this huge party for her.
100?
Yes, and I mean, she was still very much like in it, you know. She knew everything that was going on, everybody that was there. She could still tell you stories about, years and years and years ago. So it's just like, wow, this person is a fountain of like information and memories and all these things. And seeing the room full of people that just loved her was like heartwarming, you know. My dad grew up with her, so you know, for him, she's like his second mother, because you know, he got to sit there with her. And
this your great
this
grandmother?
Is my great grandmother.
Gotcha.
So it's my father's grandmother.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, everything that he tells me about her and everything that I experienced for myself, you know, it just leaves that warm and fuzzy feeling. And that's how everybody, you know, I've never heard anybody say an ill word about her. I remember when I was younger, I wrote her this whole letter about why she was a great grandma. Because, you know, kids be simple-minded. Like, I'm thinking great grandmother, like, oh, she's a grandmother that's great. Right. So I wrote her this whole letter about it. And now thinking back, it's just so funny. But, like, that shows you the love that was there, you know. And she loved it, so. Yeah.
Do you have any gems from your grandmother that you remember that were passed down to you that you heard your dad recite or speak on, you know, from your grandmother?
He always, you know, shares with me how much she valued just being on top of your responsibilities, like, you know, taking the time out to do the things that you need to do. You know, she pushed him to value education and value, like, you know, owning your own, doing your own thing, basically, like not depending on others, but to be able to have a skill set of your own. So, you know, now he works, but he also does accounting and taxes and things like that on the side, because he saw how she could have multiple streams of things going on. He got his love of gardening from her. I didn't get that, but the love of fresh vegetables is there, and just knowing that that's important too, you know.
So we got Truth here, you know what I mean, utilizing his imagination to so many degrees. I don't know where he's at while he's here right now. I just know he is elsewhere, you know, in his own world. You know, sort of like Tommy Pickles. Yeah. Phil and Lil, Chucky Finster would be on the Rugrats. What is it like, your experience watching this imagination play out in the way that it is? And does anything, you know, that you see in Truth remind you of your parents, your grandparents, or your great, you know what I mean, grandparents, anything that you heard? Like, I bought you this bag of snacks, not that you asked for it.
So, his imagination is out of this world. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Maybe I just have never paid attention in the way that I do. But I feel like that's gonna take him so far, you know? And I allow him to be that imaginative. Like, I'll indulge him in the silly things that he says. If his hammer turns into a phone and then a rocket ship, like, okay, where we going? What we doing? Like,
I asked because, like, so with my grandmother, who is now a podcaster, she's got several episodes of her podcast, and now she's the storyteller. You know what I mean? So on her podcast, she's telling a number of different stories. And first, it was, you know, for myself and her other grandchildren. She wanted us to know her stories, but now she's like, now that Sakina's here, you know what I mean, it's even furthermore for her, you know what I mean, because some of these stories she may never get the opportunity to tell her. So as I'm listening to how her imagination was, it made me think of Truth, and I'm thinking, like, wonder where Sakina's imagination is going to take her, because she talks about how, like, she used to be in the hayloft and writing in her journal when she first became a storyteller. And I'm thinking of some of those first experiences I had, you know, where I was writing things or telling stories or utilizing my imagination. So I'm even furthermore curious sometimes of, and she talks about her grandmother, which is my great grandmother, you know, so even some of those things she speaks on about her, I'm like, okay, I can see that in myself, and I don't even know her, but I did hear certain things from my grandmother about her.
Yeah, like I want him to, you know, use his imagination and curiosity just to figure out things that maybe I haven't even thought of yet, you know, like more about who we are and where we come from. Because I remember my grandmother talking about how, you know, she has Native American in her, and because she's very, very high yellow, as they say. So, you know, that always has piqued my interest too. But, you know, he could take everything that I know and that I want to know and just take it to a whole nother place. Like I said, like with him seeing all of these things, like we're sitting in an art gallery right now. Like what 3-year-old, you know,
right,
is really doing that?
Chilling in the art gallery, eating banana chips.
So, with this being what he's seeing as a toddler, like there's no telling, you know, what we're gonna be doing when he's 5, when he's 10, right. You know. So just having that as his upbringing, and being a part of it all, like who is Truth gonna be when he's, you know, older? I don't know.
Give us 3 special facts about Kalain Hughes. 3
special facts.
I was hitting people with 5, but I ain't gonna make you stretch it unless you want to do 5.
I'm gonna go with 3. Okay, so I'm just gonna do some randoms.
Yes.
Okay, so fact number 1, I'm double jointed in my shoulder.
Okay.
Would you like a demonstration?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, prepare to be amazed. Gotta loosen up, haven't done this in a while.
Oh,
Lord. Ta-da!
Wowzers. When did you discover that?
So funny story. When I was like, I don't know, maybe 7, my best friend at the time, she could do that. And I was like, that's cool. And I started trying to do it. And it so happened that I figured out how. I don't know if I dislocated my own shoulder or if I was born that way.
Right.
I don't know.
Nonetheless, you can spin your arms in a circle.
Now I can. We used to do it together. It was like,
big dance energy, all shoulder action.
Fact number 2.
Número 2.
Let's see. Well, I already talked about my love for musicals, so I'll say that I might lose my black card for this, but I like The Wizard of Oz more than I like The Wiz. It's near and dear to my heart.
What about it?
I don't know. Like, for whatever reason, my dad loved The Wizard of Oz and made me watch it like a lot of times. So
that'll do it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like ingrained in my mind.
That's how I grew to like DMX. My dad listened to DMX and played it several till slipping. I knew the words. And I was able to recite it, and maybe the same way you can do Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, it's that deep.
If only I had a brain.
I love The Wiz though. Like, don't get me wrong, but like The Wizard of Oz is stuck. It's stuck there. It's up and it's stuck. Let's see. Fact number 3. Okay, this is gonna blow minds. I am not vegan.
When that happened?
I'm not. I eat fish and seafood and all the things. And I might even eat some turkey every now and then. I haven't eaten chicken in a while.
I've never experienced you eat turkey.
No.
Or any seafood, I don't believe.
Well, you know.
Maybe at one of these cookouts we've had, you might have had some shrimp.
Yeah.
Okay, I just never saw you do it myself.
Never saw it with your own eyes.
Yeah.
Well, see that there? The myth has been dispelled.
There y'all go, people. Y'all just found out here.
Truth is vegan, okay? Truth is 100% no ifs, ands,
You don't
buts
get to
about
experience shrimp and fish?
Not these days. I've been thinking about, maybe when he gets a little older, whatever, he'll have a choice in the matter. But so I cook vegan food, okay? All vegan all the time. But if I go out, I'm feeling fancy, like, let me get that salmon, let me get some little shrimp taco,
right.
Let me get a little turkey barbecue every now and then. Razzle dazzle, as they say. But I'm not vegan.
For sure.
Can't claim it.
Are there any is there anything you'd like the people to know? Where to find your book, when your next book will be arriving, your next play, any of these good things there?
So Truth's New Blue Socks is available on Amazon Kindle.
Oh, like Amazon Kindle?
Shop through the Amazon store app website. And yes, Truth's New Blue Socks by Kalane Hughes. You can follow me on Instagram at Nappy, Nappy _Marlee. Marlee in reference to Martha Lee.
All this time I was thinking like Bob Marley was spelled different.
Nope. Her name is Martha Lee. And shoot, Marlee. There it is. Happened that way. I apologize. Nappy _Marlee with 2 E's, no Y. And on Facebook, I don't really put anything up there, but K, just the letter, Marlee Hughes. That's me.
If these people want to bring one of them phenomenal plays, that's why they got to holler at you. Hit her up, you know what I'm saying? Book her. Drop a bag on it.
All inquiries.
All inquiries.
Not just the serious ones.
Yeah.
You can inquire. You can inquire.
All inquiries. Pull up with the questions because she got answers. Well, I appreciate you, Kay, taking the time out to talk to us about your underground legend and, share with people a little bit more about yourself.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed, indeed.
It's been a pleasure.
And Truth as well. Appreciate you, Truth. Thank you. Say that again.
You ready to go?
Oh, my bad. All right. This has been sponsored by Live Alkaline Water. Eat right, drink right, you'll begin to think right.